to another show. Don't get this twisted. I am Rob, along with my co-host as always, Tina. Tina, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I was on my bike all morning, so
Very nice.
I got a little adrenaline rush going on right now. Took a shower. Life is good. How are you doing?
Very nice. Huh?
How are you doing?
I'm a little under the weather.
What?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with you?
I don't know. I have like this little cough going again. Yeah, not good.
Not good at all.
And then my brain is all fucked up. So
your brain is all fucked up. That an emotional fuck up? Is that a physical fuck up? Is it?
No, it's a mental fuck up. No, it's not physical. My brain was probably wrecked 20 years ago.
I was gonna say with what you did to it when you were wrestling. I would say we're just now figuring this out. No,
yeah. I'm sure my CTE is going to come up when I'm much older, but we'll see.
Boy, yeah.
But yeah, there's always something going on in my head.
I get you.
I looked at your list again because you sent the last list, and I've been farting away and fucking off. So, I looked at it, and the top line, since these are all yours, I'll let you tell the story. But it says, "Letting go. Knowing it's time to move on and making moves to leave."
Yeah. That seems to be the theme of life right now. Maybe it's my age or, we're all in like kind of like the same, we're going through the same growing pains, I guess. And, hearing a couple of clients that I've had conversations with lately have asked me, how did I know it was time to leave? And I'm like, it's really easy when when your spouse says, I'm done, like, let's get divorced. I mean, that's how I knew, because that's what he said. I mean, but we were holding on to things for so long that weren't benefiting either of us, that we probably should have let go a little bit sooner than we did. But we definitely ran out our situation for sure. But so anyway, my clients, and you said you had a friend, and I have a couple of friends, and they're at a point where, do they stay? Do they go? How long do they put up with the neglect or the abuse or, the problems with money or kids or whatever the hell it is? Like, how long do you keep trying before you stop? So I thought that would be a good topic for today.
Yeah. Look, I think letting go is, it's such a hard thing. Because, look, and again, I think it's the length of a relationship, but I think hope, there's always hope. Everyone's always holding on to hope. Like, what if it just gets better? What if it just gets better? What if it just gets better? And
I don't know that I thought that. But then, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It just generally doesn't. That's why.
Yeah. Looking back and hearing from a lot of women about their husbands, like, I left a lot sooner than most do. But I kind of feel like we felt it. It was just time. It wasn't, we didn't want to fight. We didn't want to, beat each other up. We quit trying. And so that made it really easy to kind of move on. Not that we didn't go through it. We did, because letting go is probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. And still, let's face it, I still talk to my ex. So how much did I let go if we're still really good friends and supportive of each other? I just think that's being adult. But other people that I've talked to said, seems like you still got a thing for your ex. And I'm like, no, we could be friends. Just like if you had, kids, you'd have to co-parent.
Correct. But I don't think it's the same. I kind of agree with them to a degree. I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
Look, I had a pretty decent relationship with my ex-wife, right? But it was very about my kid. That was it. I didn't ask her about how personal shit in her life was going. None of that. I think for you going forward, if you get in a serious relationship, it would be very hard for the man in your life to be okay with that.
Well, good news is there isn't anybody to have to worry about that shit.
No, but there can be.
Yeah.
That's what
Oh,
I'm
yeah. But
saying.
I
Like,
mean, when you have a new relationship, you do what you have to do. You make accommodations and you get your life in order with that person. I'm not completely, you know, I'm not, it's not that I'm not going to have to do some changing. I will. But I think
mhm.
at this age, like, as long as everybody's getting along, I mean, I rarely see him. Is there any reason to have to rock the boat? I don't see it.
No, I don't think there is either. What I'm saying is I'm playing devil's advocate. Okay. I'll give you an example. Um, if my friend decides to date someone, right, and
Hmm.
I like her, and my question to her is, because she wants to just be friends, let's say, I only want to be your friend, nothing else. Awesome. What? First of all, that would be difficult for me. Secondly, how does she explain me? Right? Like, do they be truthful and go, okay, this is my best friend, which is true, but he has feelings for me, and we've done this before, and we've pseudo dated, and we've done
I think the difference is you have feelings for her. He and I don't have feelings for each other anymore.
right. Well, there's always going to be feelings there. I mean, but you're right, probably not romantic. That is very
Right.
correct.
Right.
Which I understand. But my thing is this: is that we are at a time and place. Like it would be hard for me, just because I would go, look, for one, I don't want to be involved in that, because that man, I would feel for the next person. I wouldn't want a male in her life if I'm with her. That's just being honest. We're already, look.
But I also don't think I have a man in my life either. We're not like that either.
No, but what I'm saying is I'm playing devil's advocate with just you, this could be for anyone. It's not just your situation. I'm saying everyone's situation like this. It would be difficult to have the ex-husband or ex-boyfriend in a new relationship's life, whether it's small or not. I get what you're saying, but my thing is I can understand why it could be difficult.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I wouldn't want to date anybody that's going to have a lot of jealousy issues and have a problem with that because it's really not one here. So I wouldn't go for somebody like that to begin with.
Right, but I mean, every man is jealous.
But every woman is too. If we all watch our shit and keep it at the door, then we could have real relationships.
Right,
And that's
I
just
agree
how
with
I
that.
see that.
But for me, it'd be like this. If I would, I mean, it's just hard. It's more difficult. It's because someone's going to go, you're just not letting go. You're just not letting go. You're just not letting go. And I get it. Letting go is difficult. I have, fuck. I mean, look at my friend in Vegas who was with her husband 17 years in a very, very unhappy marriage, but wouldn't get out of it for whatever reason. So she couldn't let go for, I'm sure, lots of different reasons. There were kids there, and she didn't work a lot of the time, and he was the breadwinner, and there's a bunch of things. But I just think it's difficult to get out of something for lots of different reasons. I have another friend, was in a relationship 3 years. She was unhappy after 6 months, but stayed for 3 years. Why? There's always going to be a reason. It's just because letting go is hard. I think that at the end of the day, it's, what if it gets better? What if it gets better? What if it gets better? And I think that, look, I was in a marriage we were married 6 years, but I think I was with her 10 and a half, something like that. I'm going to assume there were times where she probably would have broke it off earlier, but didn't, for whatever reason. Money, it's hard to move out. It's hard to sustain yourself now. You lose your partner, what do you do? It's just difficult. I don't know. I don't know if there's an answer or not.
Well, I believe that when you feel like it's time and your needs aren't being met and you're not meeting in the middle and you're not happy and you're more miserable than not, maybe you should look at it, either doing something serious to fix the relationship, and that means both people need to say, no, I really want to do this, or
Right.
it's time to say, look, it's just time to break it off before we're hating each other, before there has to be like stuff that we're all going to be embarrassed by after we do it, like before it gets to the point where you're absolutely fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
When I believe, I don't think we damaged each other through leaving. I think it helped both of us because it was just time. It was
Right.
time. The feelings had changed. Things weren't going to come back to the way they were. And they're still not the way they were if we were supposed to be together. That's never going to be again. I think that what you have at a moment in time is left in that moment. And if you're not actually working on yourself and your relationship every day, that too is going to end.
Right. I definitely agree with that. If look, it, I usually say relationships are a job, and people like hate to hear that, but they are. I mean, you do need to work at your relationship,
Every
and
day.
but it shouldn't feel like a job. You should have to work, and
Mhm.
you know, no relationship is perfect, obviously. Um, and like you said, when the bad outweigh the good, it's done.
Mhm.
It's just pulling the trigger. But man, is it hard. Because I think you hold on to all the good memories. You know what I mean? It's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, even when there's no um infidelity, or maybe you just grew apart. That happens. I mean, I think it truly does.
It
I
totally does.
I thought mine did, but then I found out later on it didn't. Much later, like years and years and years later. But for me, that the cheating thing is the one thing that no matter what, I'd be gone.
Mhm.
I'd probably go to prison, truly, because I'd probably kill somebody. But I, other than that, look, you are going to change. Communication is the way to both keep your relationship and get out of it. If
Absolutely.
if you've been communicating from the beginning, right? You're going to go through these ups and downs, and your problems are going to come up, and someone's going to go, you know, you're doing this. I want you to change, or I need you to change. I think need is a better word, not want. I need you to change for the better of this relation. If the other person isn't willing to work on that, it doesn't matter. You
Very true.
you should be able to go to your mate and go, look, where are we at? Are you okay? Do you want this? And boy, I think women are, well, for sure, you get out of things much easier, I think, because 80% of divorces are filed by women. So obviously you guys pull the trigger way more than us. I think men just kind of go, hey, if the boat's not rocking and it's not horribly bad, I fell in love with this girl. There must be a reason I'm still here.
I don't know about that.
Uh, then why don't only 20% of men go for divorce?
Maybe they don't see it coming, or they don't look to see if it's coming.
Well, what I'm saying is that they're not unhappy. They're
I don't know. I know a lot of people a lot of men who are truly unhappy, but it's like
Then why do they stay?
it's cheaper to keep her.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess, but fuck. I mean, your well-being and your psychological makeup is costs way more because that's
Well,
slowly killing you.
yeah, but do you see, if you look, a lot of men walking around don't look happy, and they seem like they're more aggressive than they've ever been, and they're just pissed off all the time.
Mhm.
And I do believe that women have a lot to do with that. I really do. I won't take that for granted ever. But at the same time, like, why are you so angry? Why are you so pissed off? Because they're not happy. Their needs aren't being met. Maybe they're just more complacent than
Mhm.
women are, but
Right.
they don't seem happy. I mean, not, and I'm not saying, I just know a lot of people that aren't, but they're staying.
Right.
I asked my dad once, I said, Dad, why did you stay? And because there were times he should have left. There was a time when my brother and I both said, Dad, it's okay for you to leave. Like it had gotten that bad.
Right.
But his answer was, I made a commitment. And when you make a commitment, you see it through, and your word is only as good as your word. And so I stayed, but I was like, you wasted years being miserable and unhappy. And he
Right.
said, but if I would have left your mom, then you guys would have been miserable and unhappy because you would have had to have taken care of her. And so I get his answer, but I mean, how many people really have stuff like that going on?
Probably not many. I, I, again, I think now the bigger thing is like, what is happy, right? I think a lot of people that are in these situations need to realize, like, what's happy? What is happy to you? What is peace to you? Um, or why did you get in the relationship in the first place? That could be part of it as well. If you got in a relationship because you were looking for an out from another relationship, or hey, it was just I was dating and I didn't want to drive fucking 40 minutes every day, so I moved her in. Because that's what happened to me.
Or got her pregnant, or
Yeah.
list
Got her
a
pregnant's
song
a
for
whole
a
other
guy.
monster. But mine, I remember I had to drive and I was just like, I don't want to drive every day. And I was getting tired of it. And I enjoyed going to see her. But it was just, you work all day. Last thing you want to do is, drive 35 minutes to hang out and then drive all the way home because you had to get ready for work the next day or whatever it is. And I know that that's petty. That's why, like, I would love to date the person in town here. She's 10 minutes away. It's close.
All right.
It's
It's
easy.
convenient.
Yeah. If I want to take her lunch, where she works is 10 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. The convenience of being close to the person that you like is amazing.
Makes
But
sense.
I can see where the wear down for people. I think a lot of the things that we're talking about with these people not knowing when to leave is that you've been worn down for so long, and then the reality of what's about to happen hits you. Let's say you're married. Now you have to start worrying about, okay, who gets the house? What's it going to cost? I have to get a lawyer. I have to do this. Like you said, it is almost cheaper to stay because the headache on the back end is tremendous. Now,
Yeah, but the end result is your freedom and your sense of well-being and
mhm,
your peace and you can be happy. It's really hard to be happy when somebody you live with is hating on you.
absolutely.
There's no peace in that.
Mm-mm. I mean, I saw it with my friend.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have any peace in her relationship. It was worse. And they were just boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
So, you know, but there's something to even that. Like she would tell me like the good times. Oh, there was some really good times. And I think that
Is the word that you
right
need to pay attention to.
or I liked his kids. His kids were
Mm-hmm.
great. So, but he wasn't. I'm again, I'm kind of playing both sides of it. I understand. I do. I totally understand why. I'm not that person though. Like I guess I'm at an age now where if I got into something, I would go in hard. Like, fuck it. Both feet in. Let's get this ball rolling. Let's see what this is. If it doesn't work out, at least we can walk away and hopefully be really good friends still. It's hard though, because, you know, that's easy to say on paper.
It is very easy, and also because guys attach differently than women. You do that to a woman and she's like, whoa, slow the hell down. I have to feel something before I could go the next step. Like, I don't want to waste the first steps. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you get to know a person. For a woman, they have to get a feel for them. They have to get an attachment for them. There has to be emotional connection. And most guys want to skip that place, but then you find out you wouldn't want to be with that guy anyway, because if he's skipping those points, he's skipping others too.
Right.
And that's not going to work.
I just think that like the foundations of why you stay together are. It's easy to go back and look. If you got together because it was a wild time and you were out and about running around and, it becomes a sexual thing and you get this cool, hot thing and going, that's going to burn out, right? At some point, or slow down. Let's say cool down. That's the better way of putting it. Mm-hmm. But the lifestyle of the people that were involved in that are now different because maybe she was out bar hopping and now doesn't want to. But the guy still does. That was his life. Getting out of those type of relationships is hard because now you become the person you're with. You know what I mean? It's a difficult thing. There's no easy way out of a relationship.
No, there's no easy way. Just like there was no easy way finding that person and starting a relationship. Like, there's a lot of things that are involved in order for that to happen. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't have to be super difficult. It doesn't have to be any harder than, we just have to stop and break it off. Like, people make it worse than it needs to be by the fighting and the name calling and holding things over each other's head. Like, there doesn't need to be all that.
I agree.
It just doesn't.
I think the thing too. Go.
I think the reason, or how I knew that my marriage was over, was because neither of us were fighting for it. So when that happens, it's like, oh, okay, this is a clear indicator that life is over. This life is over, and it's okay to let go. Everybody worked out. It is scary at first, and it's not fun trying to, separate everything. But the end result is, I see him now. When I see him, he seems really happy. And you know what? I'm not unhappy at all either. I don't think we were happy together. I think it affected us tremendously. But now that we're through it and we took those huge steps, and it is huge to pick up and leave, life is so much more peaceful. And if you're not getting any peace in your relationship, that you need to think about that.
Yeah. I think like knowing when it's time is easy. Generally. Like, it's time. Everyone kind of knows when it's kind of like, this isn't, there's just nothing there anymore. It's mechanical. I think that's the better way of putting it. And having a mechanical relationship is not fun. It's same thing every day, and within reason. But the getting out is always the hardest part. Like, it's easy to decide in your own head, but it's hard to decide and get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Because once you say you're done, someone goes into fight or flight mode, right? And I think men, like, I fought way too late. And I think I got I think she didn't like me for that. Why are you trying now? Should have
Right.
tried before.
I
So
get that.
yeah, and don't get me wrong, I understand what's behind that, but again, I didn't know anything was wrong, but I didn't find out later that regardless of what I did, it wasn't going to change. She had already decided and met somebody and a bunch of other things. So like for me, I was fighting for something that just wasn't there regardless. But I was
Mm-hmm.
still fighting because I thought, hey, I put in so much time and we had a 6-year-old and there was just a lot of things. But I, looking back on it, I don't ever think I was in love.
Mm.
It was the relationship of convenience. It was like we were both in a weird place. It just kind of fit. The pegs fit together and she moved in. It was good. And like, it was not bad. But I don't think I was in like love. I don't think I've been in love many times in my life, if we're going to be perfectly honest. So,
Mm.
and I think that there, I remember getting something from my friend down the street for my friend's wedding. There's 3 kinds of love. There's your first love, which is, your puppy love that you're like, oh, haha, ding, ding, ding. Everything's cool. And it ends and it hurts, but you understand. Then there's like the middle, the second love. And that's the one that hurts the most, which is generally like your marriage that ends in a divorce. And then there's the third love, which hits you out of nowhere and comes from, and you shouldn't be together. And there's like, you just it shouldn't have happened. And it rolls on. And that's kind of how I saw my best friends. He met this girl at a hotel in San Diego and one lived out of state. The other, they did this thing of flying back and forth, whatever. And they made it work and they got married and they're still together. So to be in love is the cornerstone of these relationships we're talking about, right? And does love fade?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It
I
does.
don't think love.
When you quit working at it, it does. When you quit seeing that person as your friend, it does.
I think I've seen several podcasts or videos on TikTok or whatever that almost everyone who talked about their relationship that was great, that's the first thing they say. That's my best friend that I just happen to be in love with.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't, because your friends you can hate one day and love the next because they did something wrong, but that they're your best friend. And just one girl goes, well, love isn't a feeling, it's a choice. You
Mm-hmm.
choose to be in love. You choose the person you're in love with. It's not like, because your feelings change every day. You can have a bad day. Your girl could come home from work and she had a shitty day at work. Doesn't mean she's not in love with you, because the feeling might not be there because she's mad for the day. So the best friend mode should kick in and go, okay, hey, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And you handle things differently. So when it's time to move on, I think that you realize things about your relationship that probably weren't true in the beginning. You were like, oh, this really wasn't how I felt. And you start looking, at least me, I started looking back on this. It was convenient. Things just happened to be good for us at that time. And don't get me wrong, I got a great kid out of it. And wouldn't change that for the world.
Yeah.
But I think I hate to say I wasted years, because I don't think I wasted any. I don't think any relationship or a person that you are in love with is a waste. I don't think there's wasted years. I think that's all bullshit. The years that we put into somebody are just It's time. It's like sand in an hourglass.
Mm-hmm.
You still got time. There's still sand in the hourglass. As long as your heart's beating, there's still sand. So I think that the people who are afraid to leave are the ones who are afraid of the next relationship.
That's true.
Because now you have to re-meet somebody. You have to go through the cycle. You have to do that. And that's hard. Reintroducing you to somebody new, telling them your fucking story. Here comes your flaws. Here comes your scars. Here comes your emotional shit, your trauma, all these things. The person you're with knows them.
Mm-hmm.
So why leave? Now, and again, I'm playing devil's advocate. I think I won't be in an unhappy relationship. I'd rather be alone. I'd rather be alone, period. If I don't find the person that I want to be with, or I'll just be alone because it's not worth it anymore. It's, and I wouldn't say that I'm happy right now. That would be a lie. I'm not happy at all. I would say that, I just go. And I think I don't like that feeling. But that's, I think, the reality of like the relationships we're talking about. Sometimes you just go. You get up, you do your shit, and you go. And for the people who are stuck in these relationships, I think my only thing would be, yes, the next step sucks. It does. Meeting somebody is really rough. But I think when you do, that is when the brighter side comes. So there is a brighter side of this leaving or knowing when it's time to leave. My thing is, as long as you know you tried, that's the biggest thing about a relationship. Did you try?
It all you got? Yeah.
Because I think that if you leave these relationships with, I did everything. Whatever that is for you, I changed for them. I started doing something different. I started doing the things that she wanted. And it didn't work out still. Okay. At least I did my part. I think as long as everyone's honest. The honest part, and we talked about that last week.
Yeah.
But no one's honest.
Yeah.
Because everyone's either worried to break someone's heart. You can't be worried about breaking anyone's heart. You that's part of life.
And that's supposed to happen when a relationship is over. There's supposed to be a breakdown, and then there's supposed to be a rebuilding and a changing and evolving person, and then you do it again and again and again and again for some people.
Until you find the right one. And there's not a perfect one. There's just not. Like I said last week, we're all going to settle. Just matters what you're willing to settle on. That's all it is. What are you willing to settle on?
I don't see it as settling, though.
Well, like one of the things I said a long time ago, and I got it from Matthew Hussey, the book I wrote. You're settling for, not settling on. Because settling on means that you really kind of don't have a choice behind it. Settling for is when you're looking at the four things in front of you and you're choosing and picking that one. You're settling on that one right there. You're going to. It's a fact. No one's perfect. So you have to look at the person that you're looking at. That you're like, I love this person. I love her flaws. I love her this. Yeah, she's a fucking wreck and she's going to drive me bonkers. But man, I still like the core pieces of them. Or him. Like, yeah, he's a little jealous and, this or that. But man, when I'm at home with him, he makes me feel like this. And that's what means the most to me. Because look, in 10 years, we're going to be 60 something years old. life's going to be different. I'm not going to get up and go bar hopping every day. I need somebody.
Do you do that now? Because I know I don't.
No, but I mean, I could.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's 50 is not the same, although 50 is the same. My dad was going bar hopping at 50. I just didn't know it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or maybe not 50, but 40. So my thing is this, is that these people that are out there, and if you know it, you just know that it's over, or it's not working, or it's not going to work. Yes, it's difficult, but you have to take that step, and it sucks.
Or give yourself a time limit on how long you'll put yourself through what you're going through.
Yeah, correct. And what's the steps to get there? Do you do therapy?
If you could get the other person to do it.
Yeah. I told my friend down the street. Again,
you know, I know a lot of therapists that got their head up their damn ass. I wouldn't want them helping me.
Look, you have to go. I've never done therapy, although I've been told I should many times by her. But she's told me that she's talked to people, and it took several different people until she found somebody that, you know, that she liked and was telling her maybe not what she wanted to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I was funny too, because I forgot who it was. It was some celebrity, and they were talking about when they got together with his new girlfriend, they started couples therapy right when they started dating, or, you know, somewhat into it. Once they decided to be a couple, I don't think they started it after date 2.
Right.
But, I was telling my friend down the street, I go, hey, you know, would you be willing to do that? And she's like, well, I don't understand why. And I was like, because I think you get ahead of the curve. Sometimes maybe it's just talking to the person going, hey, how are things going? And someone brings something up and you go, oh, okay. Or let them kind of go through the thing and see it. The steps of leaving are going to be the most difficult thing in the world. But if you've gone through all what you think are the steps, it's going to be easy at the end, I think. And look, like I said, I've seen people who were in long relationships, shitty relationships, and even at the end of that, they were still like, you know, he wasn't a bad guy, and I have 2 kids with him, and you know, this and that, because you put in time. And when you put in time with somebody, you feel like you're throwing away that time, I think.
I look at how other women talk about the men that they're with and how frustrated they are. And I think, God, I didn't have to go through that. Like, I didn't have those problems. I didn't have this problem. I didn't have that problem. I didn't have a lot of problems, seriously, with my ex. We cohabitated well. The problem was we gave up taking care of one another and being close with one another. And the neglect was enough to make us to change things. And it needed to be changed. And I literally feel like we just ran out. Like the game was over. And that was the end of it. And I think that when you're feeling that, it's best to just look at it and say, okay, it's not working out. Let's get out of this as nicely as we can with each other, because we did have love for each other at one point. Mm-hmm. Let's try to remember that and, you know, separate and dissolve the situation that's not working for you. It doesn't have to be a fight. It doesn't have to be abusive. It doesn't have to leave a big singe right across your forehead. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be the worst thing you've ever experienced in your life.
Correct. I don't think getting out of a relationship should be the death of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and look, it's hard. I mean, when I, you know, I had a bomb dropped on me, and then I found out other things that were happening that I didn't know. And I mean, like, not paying bills and things like that. So starting over for me was rough, but I
Mhm.
also didn't have a choice. So you nut up. Yeah, I was eating shitty and I had a kid and I had the same pair of shoes for 5 years and a bunch of other shit. And it's hard and it is difficult. And but at the end of the day, I think, a good percentage of these people that we're talking about will be okay.
Everybody will be okay. It doesn't matter what situation we've been put in, you find a way to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
We had an earthquake, kick us down years ago, and we're all okay.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's still okay. You go through it, you get through it, you move on to the next thing. And that's how life is. You lose people, you lose things, you lose at life, you lose money, you lose everything. That's part of the process. But you also gain as well. You gain knowledge, you gain strength, you gain love, because hopefully you go and you find something that truly is what you need for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you got to do, and you get through it. It just is what it is. No situation stays the same. The only thing that does stay the same is that change is going to keep changing. That's the
Right.
only thing that stays the same.
I think the bigger thing, what you just said, is the truth, though. You have to, first of all, you have to believe that you're going to find somebody again.
If you want to.
Well, that's what I mean. If that's your goal, which most of us it is, we're creatures that don't do good in solitary confinement. It's just a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Married people are happier than single people, statistically. It's just a fact. You're just happier.
Okay.
Because I think that you have someone. We all want to lean on somebody. We all want to have support and that kind of thing. So I think for the people who are in unhappy relationships, know they're done and are sitting on their hands wondering if it's the time to do it. It is. Sucks. It's going to hurt. It's going to be shitty. You're probably going to fight till the end with each other over dumb shit like furniture. If you're just a boyfriend and girlfriend and you don't live together, you have no excuse.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the easiest one out of everything we're talking about. If you're just boyfriend and girlfriend and you don't live together, it should be the easiest thing to get out of ever.
And
Assuming that
just
someone's not
quit
abusive.
going around each other.
Yeah, you just end it. You decide it's over. If you're boyfriend and girlfriend and live together, there's issues. There's a lease and there's things that you have to counter and get over. But again, that can all be fixed as well. And
yeah,
it's just rough. My thing is know that it's going to get better afterwards. Know that you'll fall in love with somebody again.
life goes
And
on.
hope that that's the right one. You're going to have to. I've heard from another friend of mine that a friend of hers that she's known since she was 13 years old says nothing like, you just jump into every relationship right afterwards. Jump. You're never single. It's like, okay, I maybe that's a coping mechanism. Maybe it's not. I don't know. And I don't want to jump the gun, but that I think that sometimes if you're doing that, maybe it's for a purpose. Staying single for 5 years or 10 years like me is not good. It's not. It isn't a good thing. I probably should have jumped into way more relationships just to test the water.
And I've liked being single.
Yeah. Because there's good things about being single. I mean,
yes, there are.
There is.
Absolutely right.
Absolutely. I can't argue that fact. I was talking to her down the street. She's like, if I just made a little more money, I would, I'd stay single probably forever. And I was like, probably not, because I don't think she's really built like that. I think she's in a place right now Look, I like being single. I would love to have a mate. I miss certain things about that. I miss being next to somebody and that type of thing. But I also wouldn't stay in a relationship just because I liked that.
Yeah. No.
I just wouldn't now. So I think for me, I'm not in a relationship, but going into the next one, if it doesn't work, and I'm a fighter. I mean, you know me, Tina. I will.
You will go down with the sinking ship.
Yeah, I'll be on the top of the pole of that fucking thing when it hits the water. Mm-hmm. Because I'm a believer in love, and I think that it's real and it's there, and so I don't give up easily. But if it's over, it's over, and hopefully, when you go to your mate, you do it with the utmost respect and
kindness.
Yeah, and again, as long as there's no fault, like no one cheated, no one did anything horrible, no one's beating someone, that those are no excuse things. But if it's just, look, it's not working, and that happens. I want to test the water with my friend down the street. I'm not sure if it'll work. I don't know. I mean, I think so.
I don't think it doesn't matter what relationship that you're in. There are no guarantees.
No.
I look at my mom and dad again. They were together. They were together since my mom was 14 and my dad was 17. And my mom died when I was 40 years old. So they were together a good long time.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still no guarantee she died. Dad's alone.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to get by and misses her terribly. And even when he dates, he's not in love with these women. He's still in love with my mom.
He's filling a hole.
Yeah. So, but the thing is I always tell him, I said, well, Dad, good news is you're still here. So what are you going to do with your time here? Mm-hmm. What are you going to, I always think that, okay, this is the situation I'm presented with. How am I going to make the most of it? And right. I get up and I do what I do every day and I'm having a good time. Like yesterday, for instance, I got up, I went over, got my best friend. We went out to lunch at a place we'd never been before. We went to another place to grab some things that I was wanting that I never would have gone if she wasn't with me. Mm-hmm. I didn't work yesterday. We ended up at C's Candy. The last time I've been to C's Candy. And she said to me, she goes, you don't have to answer to anybody. You could just go and go and go. And I'm like, I know, it's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Ended up at the mall at 7:00 last night. We screwed around all day. And guess what? Nobody bitched me out. What was for dinner? Where was the scissors? When are you coming home? Who are you with? What are you doing? How much money are you spending? Nobody asked me shit yesterday. Right. And you know what? That's a damn good day.
And I'll give you the polar opposite of that. I miss certain things like that because I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah. Well, it's been 5 years for me.
It's been 17.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah. So, and look, I can't argue the fact of things like that. It's nice to come home and no one tells me I can't watch the hockey game, or no one says, "Hey, we're going to do this." But on the flip side, I feel less. Maybe it's just me as a man and just how I'm built. I miss having to do something, have a purpose. I don't feel like I have a purpose anymore. It's a weird feeling. My son's on his, he's 20 something years old, takes care of himself. I don't have to deal with that. So my purpose in life is really just to pay the rent. I'd love to have my purpose be someone else. It's okay to have that.
Your purpose, Rob, is to live.
No, but
your purpose is to find your happy. You're not going to find the happy in somebody else. You got to find that in you.
No, but see, I don't think that. No, I agree with that. No, I totally agree with you. No person's going to make me happy. Mm-mm. No, and I wouldn't say that I'm, utterly awful either. I'm just blah. That's all it is. I'm good everywhere else. my bills are on time. Matter of fact, they're way ahead. Money's not a problem. Like there's things like that. They're like, I should be like, I think I saw something on a TV show that I thought was great. And I think this is my last word is this, because I think it fits. You can't, like, sometimes you want to share the good things with someone else. That's just it. You know, the person that I like isn't going to make me happy. I hope that we click together. Like, people are so looking for the person that's just like them. I want someone who compliments me. That's all. I want someone that I can look up in the morning and ratty ass hair and no makeup, and I still, kiss her on the lips and tell her I love her, because it's not about the looks. It's not about what she looks like. It's about who she is. And it should be the same for anyone else. When you look at your man in the morning and he's got a little pot belly, but he's taking care of shit and he's just being a good man to you. That's what I want. I just want a good woman. I want someone to share this crazy life with. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to get out. It's okay too. Just don't be afraid.
So when are you going to let go? When is the answer? Just the $1 million question.
That's
today.
it.
When
and it's hard to let go. When you love someone, it's hard to let go. It just is. That's how we're built. Unfortunately, we're stand upright, have a big brain, and we're an animal. We free think. It's hard to look at somebody that you have intense feelings for or had intense feelings for and say, I gotta go. It's hard. I get it. I hope for the people that are out there that are in relationships, friendships that they're in, whatever it is, that if you're not 100%, get out. Mm-hmm. But, also you got to try. Make sure, because I'll tell you, you don't want to not do it. And then years later go, fuck, I should have fought harder for that relationship. Because now I'm in a new one that's just as shitty as the last one, or right, just as shitty as this one. It's rough. I don't know the answer. I wish I did, but I don't think there is one. We're all different. We're all these weird creatures. And I say fight hard until you truly know that you can't go anymore. Because then at least you can sleep at night. Yeah. I think that's the bigger thing. Just make sure. Because regret never goes away. It's sucky. Hopefully for the best, I think, I hope your friends that are in these relationships that you've been talking to, cutting hair, that they think about all of these small things, and there's still time to fix it. And there is time to
fix it. But the only thing that I think to tell them is, are you being the best person that you could be in this relationship right now? Because that's how you know you're doing your best. If you could say, yeah, I'm a really good person and I'm really looking out. And if you could say that and things aren't working for you, then it's time.
Correct. I agree with that. I think if everything that you're doing is exactly what you just said, it makes things easier leaving. Mm-hmm. All right. Look at that. 50 minutes out of the way.
What?
Any last things you want to say to the folks out there that may be in something that they're just trying to get out of?
Pull the string. Like, just do it already. If you're really at that stage where you're trying to get out of it, get out.
Yeah.
Walk away. Don't look back. Don't make any more chaos than you need to. Just walk away.
All righty, guys. Check us out on all the social medias. I'm doing better. I'm posting things more, so you'll be able to get the links to the shows. And I usually put the link up for Spotify, but you can listen to us on everything. Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever the hell's out there for podcasts. And it's an opinion show. Don't get it twisted. Keep coming back every Wednesday. I'm Rob. That's Tina. And we will see you in a week. Bye.
See ya.